biggest one, and I feel like my mom always asks me this question: is it fattening? Number one, what is fattening? Number two is sugar. Unfortunately, in today's world, it's cheap and it's in most of our foods. Like I said before, the question is, do you know where it comes from? If you do, then possibly it has no sugar or natural sugar. Now, if you don't, the label is going to where you're going to want to look at. If it has anything that says sugar, maltodextrins, dextrose, fructose, these are all sugars which are just written in different ways, glucose, corn syrup, the list goes on. But these are all names which you probably would have never heard of before, so you probably shouldn't ingest it. So everything goes back to, do you know where it comes from? If you do, then it's going to be beneficial for you. If you don't, then it probably is full of E numbers, hidden sugars, etc., etc. Another big one is like artificial sugars and aspartame, xylitol, stevia. It's a lot of people say, oh, I want sweetener instead of sugar. If you're drinking it and it has 0 calories or whatever it says it does, your body it's sweet, your body's producing it, you ingest it, your body thinks it's going to get something sweet and it doesn't. Okay, so what do you think that means? That means that it's not going to be very good for you. It's going to cause all sorts of hormonal imbalances and everything in between. So probably the best artificial sugar is going to be stevia because it comes from a plant. But other than that, if you're looking for aspartame, even chewing gum, there's aspartame in, which nobody would realize. But again, is it natural? So everything goes to the same thing. When we deal with sugars, we look at what it has to do with what that sugar does to the body. So what happens when you ingest anything, whether it's any type of food, okay, whether it's white bread or sugar or a fruit, it always, because it's a carbohydrate, it always has an effect on the body, okay, on the blood sugar level, okay. So if you ingest it, then you might get a sugar spike if it's very high in sugar, and that will cause problems in the body because insulin is released. And it gets a little bit technical, but basically you get a sugar rush and then a sugar crash if it's very high in sugar. Okay, this is called glycemic index, and if you don't know about it, I suggest you read up about it. This is super interesting. If you eat a fruit, it's going to have fiber with it. Okay, so at least it has something to kind of slow down that sugar rush. Okay, because it has other things. Whilst if it's going to be just fruit juice, for example, which is juice with the fiber all gotten rid of, then it's going to have a massive sugar spike and then a massive dip, okay, which is not ideal because it's going to make you hungry quicker, because it's going to take your sugar levels higher, maybe cause a bit of inflammation in the body, and so on and so forth. Hence white bread over brown bread, because brown has fiber, white doesn't. White is stripped of all the fiber, so it will have the same effect. And that's called glycemic index and glycemic load, and it's basically a numerical type of thing which tells you how it affects your body. The higher it is, the bigger the spike, and the worse it is for you. Mind you, there is times where you should be taking high glycemic foods, even if they're bad for you, and that comes into sports nutrition.